Hello! Today we're discussing Parsha Hayei Sarah. The year is 2084 as per Jewish calendar, which is 3694 years ago. Sarah dies at the age of 127 and is buried in the Machpelah cave in Hebron, which Abraham purchased from Ephron the Hittite for 400 shekels of silver, which was a huge amount of money at the time. Abraham's servant Eliezer is sent loaded with gifts to find a wife for Isaac. At the village where Eliezer asks God for a sign. This is the well where all the girls normally come over to get water. So he asks for a sign, and what he asks Hashem for is when the maidens will come to the well, he will ask one of them for some water to drink. And not only the woman will give him the water to drink, but she will offer to give his camels, to provide water for his camels. And this one who will do that will be the one for his master's son. And as soon as he finished his prayer to Hashem, as a matter of fact, Rivka or Rebecca appeared in front of the well. She was the daughter of Abraham's nephew Bethuel, and she passes the test with flying colors. Eliezer even noticed that the water from the well was sort of raising up towards her, which is an indication of a very high spiritual level of the person. Eliezer is invited to her home, and he repeats the whole story of the day's events to Rivka's relatives. Rivka returns with Eliezer to the land of Canaan, where they encounter Isaac when he was praying in the fields. This was on his return, basically after he agreed with Ishmael to bring Hagar to Abraham. We will discuss that in a second. And Isaac marries Rivka. He loves her, and he is comforted over the loss of his mother, Sarah. Abraham takes a new wife, Keturah, which is Hagar, and fathers 6 more sons. But Isaac is the only one designated as a full heir to Abraham's wealth, as well as spiritual inheritance. Yitzhak is the one who carries the torch of studies and sharing of God's knowledge and sharing of Torah with the people. Abraham dies at the age of 175 and is buried beside Sarah, and the funeral is conducted by his 2 eldest sons, Isaac and Ishmael. Now, let's look at the whole Parsha. There are numerous contradictions here, and the main one which jumps into your eyes as soon as you start reading the Parsha is the fact that the Parsha is entitled Hayei Sarah, meaning the life of Sarah. And this looks ironic, since the very first verse describes her death at the age of 127. Why such a title? This question immediately pops up in your mind. I believe it reflects the great legacy Sarah left through her son Isaac and the generations to come, as well as her commitment to serving God, who blessed her with a son at a very unlikely age of 90. Sarah served her husband Abraham faithfully and honorably as a bone of his bone and as the flesh of his flesh, and raised Isaac with a reverence to Hashem. This parsha is truly a story of the life and service of Sarah, because everything described in this parsha is a consequence of Sarah's life or influence by her power. The action quickly shifts to Abraham bargaining with sons of Heth for her burial place. Abraham speaks to Ephron the Hittite and negotiates the purchase of the cave of Machpelah and the surrounding field. He agrees upon and pays the price of 400 shekels and buries his beloved wife, which was a very inflated price, as I said earlier. There is quite a long narrative dedicated to this transaction, and there is a reason for it. Abraham did not want the so-called present from Ephron, because he wanted to be sure that the land and the cave belongs to Jews, to the children of Israel. This is the cave where he himself and Sarah and all the immediate descendants will be buried. And he knew that. The burial there, the fact of Sarah's burial there, has elevated the field and the cave spiritually. As Israel came out of Egypt into the land of Canaan much later, they had a full, legal, legitimate claim to this parcel of land. Not only because Hashem gave that land to them, but also because Abraham has bought it, paid for this land in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of witnesses present right there. Even by human standards, this solidifies the rightful Jewish claim, past and present, to the city of Hebron, despite the uproar and belief to the contrary, even by the United Nations. Not only Sarah, but Abraham, Isaac, Rebecca, Jacob, Leah, Ruth, all of them are buried there in that cave of Machpelah. Hebron was where King David, was anointed and would reign as a king for 7 years, 7.5 years actually. It is considered the second holiest city in Judaism after Jerusalem. The whole field and the cave were spiritually elevated by the fact that of Abraham's purchase and Sarah's burial right there. With the death of Sarah, another instance of basically manifesting itself, how Sarah's spiritual power has passed on. With her death, the 3 miracles that consistently filled her tent, which was the special blessing of the challah, which never went stale, Shabbat candles that burned from 1 week to the next, and the cloud of divine presence that hovered over her entrance to her tent. All of that came to an end with her passing away. However, during the same year, Isaac married Rivka and brought her into the tent of his mother. The 3 miracles immediately returned as Rivka came in as a Sarah's successor, who embodied the ideals upon which Sarah founded the Jewish home, which even to date every Jewish woman maintains her home this way. Abraham's life story, as told by the Torah, began at the age of 75 and came to an end with his wife's passing. 2 people were charged with the task of bringing a new moral code and covenant to the world. A man and a woman, Abraham and Sarah. They were both indispensable for the implementation of the divine plan. Both of them worked side by side, welcoming people into their tent, teaching and enlightening people. Sarah taught the world's women with the same rigor, with the same zeal and passion as Abraham had for men. Once Sarah died, Abraham's assignment came to an end, and he withdrew from the arena of history, retreating into private life, basically. The vacancy was filled by his son, Isaac, who together with his wife Rivka became the successor to Abraham and Sarah's life work. In the Torah portion of Hey Sarah, which literally means the life of Sarah, as I said earlier, but records the events after her death, the eternity of Sarah's life is revealed. The legacy of her life continues as her teachings, morals, and deep convictions are continually demonstrated. Followed an expression by those who carry on her life's mission, and generations that follow Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Ruth, and yours and mine mothers, grandmothers, and in future, hopefully, our daughters. They will carry the torch, the way of life of a Jewish home. And this is the legacy of Sarah, bringing the spiritual cleanliness, the high level of spirituality to the world. Shabbat Shalom. Goodbye. I will see you in the next Parsha.